Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to come and share my story in front of everybody this evening. I'm a world champion in swimming. I'm a Paralympic champion in swimming. And I've actually, as you heard earlier tonight about September being Terry Fox in a few weeks, I lost part of my right leg to cancer. But the one thing I'm most proud of these days is, as I title my speech, the journey to normal. And I'm sure we each have our own kind of journey towards normal. But before I talk to you about my normal, I'd like to bring you back to where it all began for me to give you a little bit more perspective. I was born in January 16th, 1974 in Moncton, New Brunswick, and I had a twin brother. His name is Brett. So for the first 6 years of our life, we were traveling around. We moved around from New Brunswick to Nova Scotia, finally settling for the early elementary years in North Sydney, Nova Scotia. One time we were downstairs and we were playing around and we were jumping from sofa to sofa. And it was like 1, 2, 3, and I'd fly from 6 years old, fly from one sofa to the other and land softly. 1, 2, 3, and I would do it again, and Brett would do it again, back and forth, and on we played. And we did this many, many times until one time it was 1, 2, 3 floor, and I'm down on the floor and I'm in pain. And my parents, who were entertaining friends, came downstairs and were looking at me, and they knew something was terribly wrong. So they took me to the hospital. At the hospital, doctors did some tests and decided that in order to help me, they had to transfer me to Halifax, to the Isaac Walton Killam Hospital, where more tests were done, and it was diagnosed that I had osteogenic sarcoma, which in layman's terms means bone cancer. So the doctors decided to remove part of my right leg, and I thought that, obviously this was bad, but they gave me a 35% chance of survival. Because of this chance of survival, obviously the diagnosis was bleak, but I was able to make it through. And then again, on my birthday, January 16th, 1982, I was 8 years old, and I thought I had one treatment left. They came into the hospital room, and they told myself and my parents that the cancer had gone to my lung. 35% chance again, trying to beat it, and I was able to overcome that, and I was able to walk out of the hospital. Now, it didn't seem fair that my brother never had cancer, and the fact that I had it twice. So I'm having cancer twice, and he's not having cancer at all. The only thing that I kind of hold on to from those early years that I am so much better looking than he is. You should see him, seriously. So anyways, I get out of the hospital, and I'm this kid, 6 years old, 8 years old, in North Sydney, Nova Scotia. There's nobody around me that have a disability. So I was unique. I was different. I was far from normal. My parents took us to Florida that year just to get our minds off things, relax, enjoy, be a kid. And I'd walk around with sweatpants because I didn't want people to see my artificial leg. But then it would get hot and I'd have rashes, and it was a hard time for me trying to adjust to life as an amputee. So I'm going to show you my leg now. This is what I walk around with. So this tattoo I got on my leg, I got it in 1996 because I wanted people to know when I was at my swimming competitions that I was a proud Canadian. And when I go to schools and I tell the school kids, don't get a tattoo, I got a tattoo on my leg and it really hurt. Sometimes the kids don't get that. So anyways, I had this leg, and over the course of the next few years, I played different sports with Brett and did all kinds of other things for him and a lot of my other friends. Until one time, I found competitive swimming, and I was 15 years old. And the call came March 1989. My aunt knew the national coach at the time, so he got me involved in swimming. He's like, hey, Andrew, you potentially, could join the team and maybe go to national championships, and who knows past that. So I said, all right, I'll try it. So when I went to the pool, one of the amazing things happened in my early life was I felt like it was home for me. The water was home for me. I didn't care if people saw me with one leg, hopping around, doing all those types of things. So I swam back and forth, and I did a ton of the work, and I was able to go to my first national championships. The national championships that year in Richmond, British Columbia. So my parents all packed up, me, mom and dad, and Brett, we went to Richmond. And this was only in July of '89, after only having swum for the first few months. And I won 3 bronze medals to take back to Nova Scotia. And it was an amazing accomplishment. But I'm going to give you a secret. You can share a secret? Show of hands if you can share a secret. You guys aren't sharing my secret? Okay. There was 3 people in the race. No joke. So there's 3 people in the race. I finished 3rd, but I had a bronze medal, and it was exciting. And I went back home, and I trained for another year until I finally moved to the Halifax area and started training with a team called the Dartmouth Crusaders. So I'm training, and I went to World Championships that year. And have you ever wanted to accomplish something, and ask yourself this, have you ever wanted to accomplish something so bad that you'll do whatever it took to accomplish that goal? And I did, and I see a lot of people nodding, and I did want to accomplish something so bad, and that was I wanted to be world champion one year, one day. 1990 World Championships, I was 16th in one of the races, I was 10th in the 400-meter freestyle, and I was disqualified in one of the relays. They didn't like me too much. So I went home, and on the plane ride on the way home, I said to myself, Andrew, one day you will be a world champion. That positive self-talk that a lot of leaders, as I'm hearing during time, tell me, those people, they tell themselves something. And I told myself I was going to be world champion. So I went home, and I started really training, really getting focused on this goal, because I saw people at this competition with one arm, with one leg, no arms, no legs, blind, and I knew I can compete, and I can compete really well with these types of people. Because some people dream of success, while others wake up and work at it. And I was one of those people who woke up and work at it. So when I went home and got to the pool, we were doing swim workouts 6,000, 7,000 kilometers, getting up at 20 to 5 in the morning, getting in the pool, cold pool, in the winter at 5:30 in the morning to swim to 7. And I wanted to stop. There's sometimes, in life, you can each ask yourself this question. When I did this, did I want to stop? Did it get hard? And the answer is undoubtedly, a lot of times, it's yes, I want to stop. But I didn't stop. And every time I didn't stop, I got a little more momentum, a little more pride that I was on the right track, and way more encouragement that the goal that I had in mind, the World Championship goal, was a reality. So after that happened, I went over a couple years later to Barcelona, Spain, the 1992 Paralympics, my first Paralympic Games. Paralympics these days are big. They were big back then, but every year they keep getting bigger and bigger. The athletes with disability, the Parapans that were in Toronto not too long ago. My first race was a 400-meter freestyle, the same race that I was 10th at World Championships. I was told on the way over on the plane by the chef de mission, Andrew, if you win a medal, any medal, we're going to give you business class on the way home. It was kind of this running joke that for people who, I was in the crowd of not supposed to medal. So anyways, seriously, it's kind of like outside shot, if not even like close. In heats, which is the morning swim, my best time was 4 minutes and 58 seconds going into the race. I raced against the world record holder. I went 4 minutes and 46 seconds and broke the Canadian record. Thank you. Oh, it's going to get better. So anyways, I did the 4:46, and I was second going into finals that night. There was 3 swimmers that were supposed to win the medals: Iceland, Norway, and Germany. Everybody thought so. They'd won the medals 2 years earlier at World Championships. Everybody else was swimming for essentially 4th to 8th spot. So we got it to the top of the water, ready to dive in, and I was feeling really excited because Mark Tewksbury had won a gold medal for Canada 2 weeks earlier at the test event for the Paralympics, those Olympics, they call them. So anyways, I dove into this water, and at the 200-meter mark, I was in second place. And at the 300-meter mark, I was in 4th place at the 200-meter mark. I was in 4th place at the 300-meter mark, and I told myself something. And I would encourage each and every one of you to tell yourself this if you're maybe in a tough spot. And at the 300-meter mark, with 100 meters left to go, I told myself, Andrew, allow yourself to be great. And that took away all the negative thought, all the doubting that I might have, that what happens if I die the last 10 meters, so what? It's just a matter, whoever wins is the one that deals with the pain the best. So I did that, and when I touched the wall, Norway was 4 minutes and 41 seconds. Iceland was 4 minutes and 42 seconds. And I touched the wall in third for a bronze medal, 4 minutes and 43 seconds, the Canadian record, and still I'm looking for business class. Fast forward many years later, after many competitions and trying to be the best and trying to get to the World Championships, I finally was at World Championships in 1998. And 1998 was one of those years where I was going in ranked first in the 100-meter butterfly. Anybody like butterfly? We got some. Not an easy stroke. But anyways, at the 50-meter mark, after the race was for finals, I was leading the race, and I could see the clock. And normally when I'm leading at the 50 and the 100s, I'm not caught. And this race was no different. So when I finally got to the end of the race, I looked up at the scoreboard, and I'd won the gold medal. After all those years, all those things, trying to make sure I was in the water in the morning. And people would say to me, Andrew, have you sacrificed? What have you sacrificed in your career? And I would say, I did not sacrifice a thing, because I was doing something I loved. I was doing something I loved in order to travel and learn things and grow as a person. So I would say that I invested my time in order to be the best I possibly could be. And as a result of being there and being in that competition, I'm lucky to have the medal with me, which it's, thank you. It's engraved, and it's really nice. And October 14th, and I have that word finally engraved in the back of the medal because of everything that I did for that particular race.